Hello and welcome to the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast with Mike and Laurent. It is Thursday, September 1st. We're going to release this today. In this episode, Liverpool get it done in Origi time. Haaland hat-trick again. That's twice. That's 6 goals in 2 games for the uninitiated. And the transfer deadline is over. Was there a dildo in your face? No. But first, Mike, what did you make of the overall transfer work done? Anything you feel like a game changer? Anything that happened today that feels monumental, or just want to review the whole thing as a whole?
Nothing today, but I want to talk about it as a whole. And I think, we were talking about it before we started recording, and there was one team that really stood out, and Leicester didn't do anything, right? They pulled the Tottenham, if you will. And every other team, Nottingham Forest, Fulham, Southampton, every team, whether you just got promoted, you're hanging on by a thread, or, everybody is making not just one or two big waves. And it's awesome. And it goes back to what we've talked about for months now, where the league is just so uber competitive. It's insane. Leicester, you're in trouble. We'll get to more about them today.
But on the other side of that, so I do think Leicester did find some defender from France. Maybe he might be good. I don't know at the end there. But
okay.
But to juxtapose that with Nottingham Forest, who I think did 21 players.
Oh, that's right. At the other two at the deadline. That's right.
Bowley came in from Wolverhampton. I mean, I don't even know how that works. What do you do with 21 players plus the guys you had? Do they just you just throw them out? Where are they?
Well, yes, right. But I think the most interesting thing about that is 21 players. That is a full senior squad, not just like your match day 11. Like there's players who will be left out, right? And look, there's ones for the future in there, and that's fine. But but it's just it creates this significantly competitive nature within the team. No, we're not just happy to be here. We want to stay here. We want to make waves, and we want to finish as close to the top half and as close to the European spots as we can. Yeah, we're Nottingham Forest. We have 2 stars on our chest, right? Who is it in the Squeaky Bum Time Facebook group? I think it was either Seth or Andy, a couple of my buddies from Connecticut, who sent the Frank Grimes Homer Simpson meme about how Homer has 2 stars on the chest and Frank Grimes is Man City. Like, you have 2 stars? What the hell is this? Right? It's the best meme I've seen.
You'll never sing that. Champions of Europe. You'll never sing that. They have 2 European championships.
Yeah.
That's insane.
1-0 to the empty seats. Was that the song?
Oh, that was mean.
That was awesome. No, that's awesome. But I think so the story is that everybody, the tide is rising and all boats are choosing to, try and do their best to keep up with it, aside from Leicester. And the big winners, my low-key winner is not going to surprise anybody who listens to the show, Brighton, because despite the fact that they sold Basuma, they sold Cucurella, they've done a lot of really smart things, and they reload without you even noticing. So I think that's really smart. Spurs, I think they have one of the most impact players of the window. We've seen already Richarlison come on and change games 3 times. He hasn't even gotten to start yet. And speaking of impact players, Holy Haaland Batman, just so we're all clear, he is on pace to more than double the Premier League goal record now.
68.
Yeah.
He's on 68. Yeah. He's not going to score 68 goals.
No. He's on 76.
Yeah.
He's on 76. Doubling the record would be 68. Yeah. He is 8 clear of 2x of the all-time record. It's
he won't get that, but it's still
no, he won't hit Barry Bonds home run numbers.
Yeah, then we'd have to check on him at that point.
I mean, he's got horse placenta or something in those veins, but I mean, we talked about it. Man City has a striker. But before anything else, Laurent, my friend, let's get the scores.
I have one more anecdote. You ready?
Okay.
The net spend for the Premier League was 1.3 billion. The next billion pounds. The next closest net spend was La Liga with 55 million. That's just the stake of how much bigger the Premier League is. There is a Super League, and it's the Premier League.
It's the Premier League.
Okay, I will do the scores starting from Tuesday, going in order of games played. Here we go. Palace won, Brentford won. I bet on this game. I thought Brentford would win, but Palace were good. Zaha is a son of a bitch. Fulham, behind the powering, battering ram of Mitrovic, defeat my beloved Brighton. Brighton didn't create much, didn't do much. Good game for Fulham. They're off the schneid. They're moving well. Southampton 2, Chelsea 1. This wasn't close. Southampton were better. Chelsea are bad. the Tuchel revolution is losing. They have a Abramovich hangover. Maybe they're getting bombed by Ukrainians. Leeds won. Everton won. Leeds' second half was incredible. And the big news here, Rafinha going out with a dislocated shoulder, but he should be okay. My boy Anthony Gordon, who I drafted, still doing well. Wednesday games. Arsenal 2, Aston Villa 1. This wasn't close. Arsenal battered bad. Villa. Ooh. Villa are fucking bad. They scored a goal in an Olympico, which was very cool, but it was probably a foul. And I do want to go back. Something we didn't talk about last week was good goals. In the Southampton game, Lavia had a killer goal that went right past Mendy for one of their goals. Mm-hmm. Then Bournemouth, after giving up 9, have the best thing you can have, which is Wolves. They gave up nothing. So 0-0 to Wolves because
we're not going to cover this game that much, but I watched it closely because I had Wolves in a parlay, and Raul Jimenez stinks. He's got to go. The rest of that team, they were at it. They were at like 1.6 expected goals. Yeah. They're coming around. They will probably be very underpriced. We're probably not going to get to best bets today, but keep an eye on Wolves in the near future.
Then what we should have bet on was the exact score, 1-1 Tottenham v. West Ham. I said it. Yeah. Tottenham were good in the first half. West Ham were good in the second half. West Ham grew into this game, and probably a draw is fair, and maybe they could have edged you guys. Definitely. I still wonder about Tottenham's creativity. Maybe in defense, it's one of these things where Romero playing out from the back actually gives them more impetus when they have both Dyer and Romero. Lets the ball move around a little bit quicker, so Kane does not have people marking him, and then he can pass. One of these things. Weak link sport, a bad defender not passing well changes how you attack. Anyway, then Newcastle, then Liverpool in Origi time. God damn it. Defeat Newcastle 2-1. Newcastle were good for this game. Isak had 1 goal chalked off and 1 goal he scored that were twinkle toes, Barney Rubble, amazing goals. To see a 6'3" lanky man move like a 5'8" elf is amazing. He was so good. Newcastle should have won this game. If Maximin and Guimaraes are in this game, they beat Liverpool at Anfield. But the fucking elves showed up for goddamn Liverpool, and they win 2-1. And those are the scores.
Well, and then today.
And today, United, of course. And then Man United defeat a hapless Leicester. I mean, what the fuck? 1-0.
Yeah, that was really hard to watch.
United controlled a 1-0, really controlled it.
Yeah.
Like, they never were in trouble. They were never threatened. If anything, they had the chances. They were organized. They had everything under control. Really only 2 players for Leicester were at it at all. I would say Dewsbury, Hall, and Madison really put the work in.
Vardy
got nothing.
Not even a shot.
Nothing. Yeah, Vardy did nothing. I thought my 9.5 Frenny Iheanacho is probably the best option. I don't know what's going on at Leicester, but it's not good. And it's the same players. It's not like the talent's gone. It's just they're gone.
Well, here, I'll pose you one. Here you go. Who looked worse this week? Brendan Rodgers, Leicester City, or Steven Gerrard's Aston Villa?
I think that Rodgers has more in the bank, but it's draining fast. Like he's at the craps table. He's with the hookers. And I don't think Gerrard is at the worst casino, and he's putting nickels into the slot machine at the airport.
He's in Old Vegas. No, he's
in Vegas. Or he's not even in Vegas. He's in Reno.
Yeah. Well, all right. I think, yes, of course. I meant performance-wise on the clubs, but obviously,
performance-wise, Leicester's was better. Like, they have more talent, but Villa was just bad. They were lucky not to be blown out.
Yes, I would say Villa got beaten by what is, admittedly, I have to start to say it, quite a good Arsenal performance again, right?
Yeah, really good.
So they were beaten, whereas you and I were talking during the game, Leicester seemed disinterested. And so,
which is worse.
That's why I would say, yes, that's why I would say Leicester was the worst of the two. Villa got, a kind of a cheap goal, right? But same thing with Vardy. Ollie Watkins didn't have a shot because I bet on that prop. But no, it's interesting that he neither striker in either game had any real was up for it at all. So United again, professional win. Ronaldo stays, by the way, because the deadline has shut. That's
a big news story. If we want to sort of shift back to the transfer window, Ronaldo staying really shows. There's nobody wants him.
Well, look, but But this is the first midweek game of many, many, many for the rest of the year.
Yes.
It will be very interesting to see if Ten Hag plays him on Thursday in the Europa League, or if he plays him on Sunday against Arsenal, which we'll talk about a little.
He will not play. He will not start against Arsenal.
I agree, but so he's been a good soldier so far.
He will. He's a professional. He wants to score. Like, he came on. He was like, let's go.
Okay. But what I'm saying is he going to be a professional if he has to play wherever they're playing on Thursday in the Europa League?
He wants to play. No matter what, wherever they're playing, he wants to play. Will he disrupt the team? No, but as long as they keep winning, the sands of time keep shifting towards Ten Hag, where
of course
everything is working for him, right? He's getting the wins. Martinez has galvanized the defense where they're fucking high-fiving each other for every block. He's a tough little feather-haired little bird bastard.
Yep.
I like him.
There was a point at which I don't know if it was Dello or...
Yeah, he cleared one off the line. They fucking made out with each other. It was amazing.
Yeah. It was Dello. He beat Barnes.
Barnes comes on the wing. He's about to cross it, and he gets the goal kick.
He gets the deflection off of Barnes, right? So yeah, and Barnes that was, you look at him and you look at Vardy, and they just slunk down, and they're like, that sucks. They never really had any sustained attack for the rest of the game after that. They just kind of quit.
They had 2 shots on target, and they were both Madison free kicks.
So, okay. I think these are different questions, but it's the same question, but I think it's different answers significantly, I should say.
Okay.
If in a vacuum, one of these two gets fired, let's start with Gerrard.
Okay.
If Gerrard gets fired, who is a suitable replacement for Aston Villa? And I'm not saying he's going to, but we have to ask the question, because, by the way, we say goodbye to one of our friends, the first of the season, Scott Parker, really harshly done.
That was bad. But I've looked into it. I've looked into it. It was coming. He had been attacking the team all summer. Where are my dudes? Where are my dudes? Where are my dudes?
Well, he went to a point. Nottingham Forest just got 20 guys. Can I get fucking 3?
That's not Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest. This is where size of club comes in.
Yeah.
Bournemouth is a small club. They got 10,000 seat. It's if the Hamptons got a team.
Right.
Whereas Nottingham Forest is like Buffalo, right? A team that a former glory, hardworking town in the Midlands. And it's like they had been down in their luck. And it's like, if the Buffalo Sabres were going to go to the Stanley Cup final, everyone would be like, the all of Western New York would lift up beyond them. Whereas the Carolina fucking Hurricanes have actually gone to the Stanley Cup final and nobody cares. Twice. Exactly.
Twice. Yeah.
I know. Rod Brindamore. I remember.
Yep.
So I made a hockey reference.
There he is. My nipples got a little hard there. Okay. But so we say goodbye to Scott Parker, and I think he got a really raw deal. Neither here nor there. And I don't like Jurgen Klopp. I'm very much on record of saying that. But I loved how he basically shot back at Bournemouth. And he said, hey, look, you gave him 4 games. He won one of them, by the way. And then he had City, Arsenal, and Liverpool. Bang, bang, bang. And he gets the doors blown off of him by Liverpool. What are we supposed to do here? Right?
Yeah.
So
he's got more points than freaking Leicester and 3 other teams.
That's what I'm saying. And so now the question has to be asked, right? And it's a sort of a who's next. And by the way, Tommy Tuchel's
not Dyche. I thought it was Dyche
on this list. It can't be Dyche. It can't be Dyche.
No,
you know who the right answer is? Dean Smith.
Culture. What? Oh, Dean Smith. Yeah, but he's in Norwich. So I looked into this, and the whole thing with Parker was that he was completely not aligned. Apparently, there was a preseason game against Real Sociedad where they lost, and he blasted the owner. The owner called him and was like, yo, you can't be blasting me. There's a way to do this, and he didn't do it right. And I think he did the same thing with Fulham. And he basically said, back me or fire me, and they chose fire you. So for Bournemouth, which is a small team, 10,000 seat, it's on a city that has 40,000 people, small club. Mm-hmm. They basically are saying, we're in the Premier League, we're going to take our check, and we're going to go home.
Right.
If we stay up, we stay up, but that's going to be because we punch over our weight. They're going to do a Huddersfield Town and be like, hey, we did good. Basically, they made it to the Premier League because they won. They went undefeated in their first 17 games in the championship, sputtered down the stretch, stayed in the top 3, Then in the back half of the season, they got a reinforcement. So they were reinforced in January to get to the Premier League.
Right.
And I think the owner was just like, those are your guys.
Yeah.
See you later.
Yeah.
So they get Nathan Redmond. They do get Nathan Redmond and Jack Stevens from Southampton. When you're getting Southampton rejects,
yeah, right.
Those guys were getting relegated with those guys.
I felt really good about Wolves going into this week because of exactly that. I looked at the Bournemouth lineup and I went, maybe 3 of these guys are Premier League quality players, especially in the context of what we've always been saying, and like how good this league is getting.
Quality, yeah.
I mean, they are squad players for a competitive
bottom
team.
Half team. Yeah.
Right. A competitive team, meaning they're not like cannon fodder. Right.
Yeah. There's not much cannon fodder. That's the weird thing.
No, but they're cannon fodder.
They are now. Yes, there is one team that is going down for sure, and it is Bournemouth. They're gone. Like, cut them loose. They may, not because they are the worst team, but because the 18 teams ahead of them all have desires, plans, notions. They may end up being one of the worst Premier League teams in history because they're in the most competitive Premier League team.
Yeah, and I mean, we said the same thing about Norwich. We said the same thing about Fulham the last few years. But again, the question has to be asked because who's their only win against Aston Villa? So, I mean, Stevie,
that team's too good. They're too good.
I'm not saying they're not too good.
He has to get fired.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying they're going to get relegated. I'm saying, dude, we got to go, man. Like something's got to happen.
They've got City next.
And it wasn't. Yeah. Well, that you guys might be the coach killers now.
No, that's, by the way, Liverpool. 6 coaches fired after losing to Liverpool under Klopp.
Poor bastards.
They are the killers of coaches.
Yeah, but I mean, look, you can't. I wouldn't fire somebody after a Liverpool or Man City drubbing, even if it's 9. Okay?
But this was different. This wasn't because of that. It was building.
No, I understand, and I'm not saying
it looks that way, but it was not.
But it's the performances that are just scary. But so at that. Now, what about Brendan Rodgers? He's got a lot more mileage on him. He's got a much better team. They finished.
Chance. Let's be clear, right? They finished. I want to make sure I have this right. They finished 8th last season.
I know that,
and they were bad down the stretch. They literally were a 500 team. 14.
I thought they were way lower than 8.
14, 10, and 14. With literally a almost even goal difference, +3. They were right, but their expected goal difference was -10. They, in fact, outperformed how bad they were. Mm-hmm. And so maybe they are slipping to where they should be. A -10 goal difference puts you in the 14-15 range. Like Southampton was a -10. Everton were -10. Burnley, who went down, were -17. This is expected goal difference. And so -10 is actually he got them to play better than expected. But that was, remember, I talked about it. Schmeichel was terrible for them.
Yes, he was. And in the interest of fairness, here's who Leicester has played for those that don't remember. Man United, Chelsea, they lost a tough game at Southampton. That's one you probably should win. And Arsenal and Brentford. Those are not easy games. Granted, there aren't many, as we keep saying, but they play Brighton on Sunday. And then Leicester City, Aston Villa. The sword is swinging. That's it. I hope that they both make it through the weekend because that's going to happen. They don't have a midweek game. That's going to be the game that kills either Steven Gerrard or Brendan Rodgers, and I'm very excited about it now.
All right, where do you want to go? Let's go to the top 4. Their results. What's coming next for them? We start in Liverpool. We both watched this. Newcastle. My takeaway is Newcastle are good. They just
Newcastle's new piece.
Everything about Newcastle
is it Isak or Isak? I don't know, but it doesn't matter. I'm in love with this man. He's fantastic. Yeah. He's a guy that we talked about a lot during the Euros in 2020.
Yes,
we previewed when he got signed a little bit, and I was all about him. I'm a huge in on him. I actually had him I didn't have him to score, but I had him for 2 shots. He nailed that. But yeah, I mean. It's one of those where you just let Liverpool hang around. And look, they got what they deserved from for the most part. They just time wasting. They're going to give it to Liverpool. They are going to give it to Liverpool every single time, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't listen. The guy wasted time. It's fine. It was late in the game. That's fine. Here's the bigger issue: is like Pope is right there. He's about to pick it up, and I'm not sure if it was Willock or Murphy who flick it into the air one more time. As it's literally Pope is on the ground about to grab the ball.
Yeah.
Willock flicks it into the air, and then one of my sons from the championship, although I may have to disown him because he's on Liverpool, Fabio Carvalho, who, by the way, it was the kids who saved Liverpool. Harvey Elliott was awesome. He was the only guy really pushing the team forward in the midfield. Henderson, Fabinho was doing his thing, but Henderson, Milner, none of those guys could really do anything. And you got the sense as you're watching the game that midfield problem with Liverpool is still there. They just, if you get the ball off them and you do a couple passes, you're in on them because they don't stop play. And I thought, like, Joe Linton is really good as a midfielder.
Yeah.
He's big, he's strong, he knocks people off the ball. And
he's interesting.
And when you do those defensive actions and you get that first pass out of defense into him, he turns and goes and gets them out of trouble and gets the ball moving, which is all you can ask from a midfielder.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing about that is, he's got an interesting career path. Our friend Chari, producer Chari, we were talking about it. Started as a striker, went out through the wing, went back central, and is now kind of bossing it, right? So it's interesting. I like seeing players excel at, or at least succeed at positions where they weren't naturally expected to be.
And
right?
then also to give managers credit to be like, he can do this, or he should do this, or recognizing a player. And we can get to this. We'll get to it right now because Liverpool are going to play Everton. That's their next game. And that is one player I think about because of Iwobi on Everton, who is this winger, who is now a central midfielder, who when you watch Everton, like, oh, who's this amazing midfielder who just gets on the ball and makes things happen? Oh, that's Alex Iwobi. What's he
Alex
doing there?
Iwobi? Wow.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So Everton and Liverpool play each other in the Merseyside derby. Let's try and mix it up. And then I believe that our friends at Newcastle have Crystal Palace. So that's another good game coming up in the week that is exciting. Those are so many. It just feels like a fun, interesting game with good players all the time.
Almost every day. And it's awesome.
Yeah.
And by the way, next week, I was like, wait a minute, there's no midweek games? Yeah, there is. There's
Champions League.
It's unbelievable. So buckle up, friends. We got 3 months of this. So
that's Liverpool. They get their win. They're off to Schneid. They're lucky. The funny thing about this game is, like, had they not won this game, there were two things. Had they lost the league, if City, who we'll talk about next, are going to just rampage, but two, they get the win and their narrative completely changes, which is bizarre to me. I'm like, they were still terrible, and they needed almost 100 minutes to pull out a lucky draw against Newcastle. Now they do get a midfielder. They get Artur from Juventus via Barcelona, who really hasn't been playing. It seems like he's a body. He's like a very cheap knockoff Thiago. So
now let's be very fair about
a creative midfielder, blah, blah, blah.
Two things. He's and I enjoyed very much the Sky Sports deadline special this afternoon.
It was good.
But two things about this. They brought up he's Brazilian and he plays with Fabinho, so there's that. But also coming from my Tottenham fandom seat, Rodrigo Bentancur and Dejan Kulusevski, both two players who Juventus was like, yeah, okay, fine. So there's a lot of diamonds in that rough.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the Allegri thing. It's the Italian thing. Oh, you're too much of a maverick. You're too creative. Why don't you do what I tell you to do? And they're just like, because I do this stuff. So he famously was a swap deal for Miran Pjanic. Yep. That was the original move. Mm-hmm. Both Pjanic and him don't work. And I will use the pun. Was it a Liverpool Pjanic deal? Pjanic. Anyway, so that goes to Liverpool keeping pace. City.
We'll never say that again. Sorry.
City played Nottingham Forest. That was not fair. That was ugly. That was brutal. But it was amazing.
it was really like, if you can stomach watching Mike Tyson fight an infant, there's beauty in it. It's
not nice.
No, but there was beauty in it. Like the graceful power with which Erling Haaland operates.
Yeah.
The first goal where he just completely eats alive the defender and just toe poke.
Yeah.
Outside foot.
Yeah.
Leaning back. Just the man
pure murder.
is just.
And then the other thing was,
we need to drug test him.
The other thing was Liverpool, a City playing like is this going to be the best front three for the next 5 years? Foden, Haaland, Alvarez, which gives me goosebumps.
Oh, man.
They're all 22 years old. they're all just going. They're just
so I wasn't watching this game because I saw
like
the highlights on
games going on at the same time.
But I just I kept checking. I'm like, did he get another one? But okay, late in the game, they bring on these younger players, Riyad Mahrez and Kevin De Bruyne.
Oh, and Cole Palmer, which is
and
also
Cole Palmer,
nice.
right? But like, I'm sitting here and I'm like, these sons of bitches rotated. They rotated. They won by 6, and then they brought on a former player of the year, like recent.
By the way, there is no doubt in my mind. City don't normally do this. This was kind of, they poured it on. They see the Liverpool get the 9, and they're like, there's times to get these goals. We're going to get them now.
We're going to get them. And look, I mean, we're 5 games in, and the Liverpool goal difference is 9, and Man City's 14. So, cool, 9-0 doesn't matter. You guys are +5 on them already, and +5 points. And that's what I mean. You brought it up. I'm glad you did. Like, the Liverpool win is so big because I keep saying you can't win the league in August, but you can lose it. And if you're racing against this Manchester City side, you're in a shitload of trouble if you're 7 points behind before September 1st. So,
and by the way, just to give some context, City have 74% possession. They take 17 shots, 9 on target. Haaland has scored has over 9 goals on less than 100 touches.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was ridiculous. And by the way, this was a classic Nottingham Forest. Burn the tape. Don't look at it. Come back to training tomorrow.
By the way,
we'll be
I don't think they – sorry. Sure, they got beat really badly, but they didn't give up. Like, they were playing hard. They tried to do stuff. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you see like United losing to Liverpool last year where they've given up. They fought. They kept trying. They kept going.
Well, look,
right?
And here's the difference,
right? They gave up.
Bournemouth, I mean, we expect them to not be in a battle for a relegation spot. Nottingham Forest is going to be, we think, and we hope not, but we think, and shit, the goal difference matters. Hey, Man City, I get it. Can you knock it the fuck off, right? Like we're working on something here, right? So,
but they do have 22 new guys. So there was one run. I think it was on one of the Haaland goals, maybe the second or third. Haaland grabs Joe Worrell, who's trying to check him, and he throws him. He just throws him out of the way to get to the run to be in the front post on the Stones header back across.
Yes,
he throws him off him, and he's on the ground. That's why the space is there, because he's knocked him off. It is something. I didn't think it was going to be like this. Cancelo's goal was good. Both of Alvarez's goals were good, but it's a hat trick in the first half, and then City pour on 3 more in the second half to make everybody happy. And then it's really fun and destructive.
Who does City have next? Let's see. City take on Aston Villa.
Right.
Oh, goodness gracious. And then
so that could go badly. Although
Nottingham
Villa
Forest and Bournemouth, and it could be basically a clash of those two styles you mentioned a few minutes ago.
So I think with Forest, they have shown me the West Ham game where they fought and got their win or their draw. Against, they played you guys. They played well. They lost 1-0, right, or 2-1, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And against City, even though they got beat, I feel like they go into that Bournemouth game, provided they can keep themselves up, that they go into that game going, we can beat Bournemouth. We're going to beat them, especially at home.
Mm-hmm. But so, okay, we go from there. We go to London because there's a lot that has to happen there. And we have to start, whether I like it or not, at the top of the table with the Gunners, man. I mean, again, we touched on it. Really, really comprehensive performance. 22 shots.
9 on target.
It was a battering. And, we talk about it. If Odegaard is clicking and Arsenal's going to be really, really tough to stop.
Pretty sure he's hurt. So he may miss this United game, which is a huge, big deal. Because I think even last year, Arsenal's first 11 was good. It was whenever one guy came out, like the Nuno Tavares game where he just fell apart, right? He fucked them. It was like, can you not have this guy on the field because he's killing you? Mm-hmm. Whenever they had to go like Xhaka at left back, like what the fuck was going on? But they have a little bit of replacement. Like Partey's out, Lukongo came in, he was decent enough. But the drop to have El Neni in there versus Partey and Xhaka, they still probably can't lose. They seem like they have depth at fullback, but they really can't lose a central defender, I don't think. Between Gabriel and the other Gabriel. But they're really good. I don't like. My thing with them is I don't trust Ramsdale.
No, I'd say he's above replacement level, but not much. But again,
He does
this
not
is going to
feel like a Premier League winning goalkeeper.
No, of course not. But I mean,
Premier League winning goalkeepers are not fired up. They're chill. They're like Hugo Lloris is a Premier League winning goalkeeper, even if he never wins one, right?
He's a World Cup winning goalkeeper.
He's a World Cup winning goalkeeper. Ederson, chill. Does Cruyff turns on the line, no problem. Allison, chill. You gotta be chill, like or stoic. Your checks. You can't be yelling and screaming. That's not goalkeeper personality.
Right.
Although Emi Martinez shaking his hips when he stops penalties is pretty cool.
Oh, I've forgotten how much I missed Emi Martinez. Look, and I said it on the last episode or the one before that. Arsenal are doing what they're supposed to do. They're beating bad teams with comprehensive, really good performances, and comparable to Spurs.
Right. It's not just winning; it's
right. And comparable to Spurs, who have dropped points, and we'll get to that in a little bit.
Yep.
They have looked shaky as shit. So all the credit in the world to Arsenal. I'm not taking anything away from them. However, two things are going to happen simultaneously. A, they're going to be met with a real proper challenge with United on the road at Old Trafford. And then additionally, they start to play in one of the harder Europa League groups that exists, right? So they go to Zurich, PSV, and our friends, Bodo Glimt.
Right? The Arctic Circle.
Yes, that's right. So the travel stuff, okay?
Listen, all you animal lovers, they're going to wear fur. They need it. They need fur.
So two things are going to happen, right? You have a tough Europa League group for whatever that's worth to you, and you have a lot of travel. You're going to start playing Thursdays and Sundays. And
the team is going to wear down.
It's going to wear down. And oh, by the way, after United, you get Arsenal. Then you go to Brentford. Then you have Spurs, Liverpool, Leeds, Man City. So, hey, we're going to learn a lot more about you.
They could lose 3 of those.
You could lose all of them theoretically, right? And again, this is not me bashing on Arsenal.
I think you got to put the points in the bank so that you can get drawers.
And they have 15 points.
Draws.
God bless them. They have 15 points. So they feel as good. After 1 or 2 or 3 wins, they're like, yeah, all right, we're going to be in a Champions League spot this year. We're not even worried about it. Now they as they should. You've got 5 from 5. You should have the delusions of grandeur. You should be saying, look at Liverpool. They're a mess. Man City, okay, well, whatever. But we're 2 points ahead of them, so we should keep on pressing, and we got a chance to win the league. And you know what? Who am I to say that they're wrong? But we're going to learn a lot more about those chances in 30 days.
They're not winning the league. Teams don't.
I know they're not winning the league.
I know Leicester won the league, but teams don't just win the league.
No, I know that. But my point is, like, they have as big a claim to it as anybody.
Yeah, there's literally
we'll learn a lot more about it.
A lot of teams that think they're going to win the league. But your team, and then Arsenal have United. So that's the big game of the weekend.
Yes.
On Monday night? Is that right?
I think it's Sunday.
The late game Sunday.
It's the late
Arsenal,
game Sunday.
Man United.
Yeah.
They rekindle the battle. It's now not who is the banter club. It's a little bit of like 2 young Jedis trying to sort of fight it out.
Sure.
One's just sort of coming out of it, just like, what? Right? United, you've got their 3 wins in a row. We can talk about that Leicester game, whatever. But they have yet to score more than 1 goal. So it's all well and good defending, blah, blah, blah. But where are these other goals going to come from? They're going to have to beat someone and score some goals. Because 1 goal versus Southampton, where you almost got battered, is just not quite enough. Leicester, who we're talking about being a relegation team, you have your Liverpool win. You can ride that for as long as you want. That was the key moment for them. But now they've got the solidity. They need to start scoring because they're not scoring anything.
And staying in North London, I did not feel good about going into West Ham. And I actually did text you before the game. Yes. We have receipts. And I said, you asked me how I was feeling about it. I'm like, look, I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw. And by the way, I think I did say on the pod on Thursday, best bets, both teams to score. So hopefully somebody trailed me on that.
I didn't mess with betting today. I did the parlay on the first day with the hipster trifecta, which failed miserably.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, you said it in the open. Spurs were sprightly in the first half. They had a penalty ruled out. I can't make heads or tails of it, to be honest. It is what it is. I didn't think it was conclusive enough to overturn, but who am I? Harry Kane gets his goal. It goes off a defender, so it's not his. But I actually was joking with you that Erling Haaland, we're coming for you,
No,
but it wasn't his goal. I know, and it's okay. He's got a couple of golden boots. He doesn't need it. But
listen,
Spurs really didn't do much to solidify their lead. And then halftime comes, and the London Stadium just eats them alive. And Højbjerg falls asleep.
It was very Spurs Mourinho. Remember we talked about that?
Yeah, right.
Mourinho.
And
Spurs.
I mean, look. You can point the finger at a couple of different players on the goal. It's off of a throw-in, which never feels good. Højbjerg is caught like yelling at the ref, and his guy is the one who scores, which looks really, really bad. I actually noticed that a few times over the course of the first half too, where he was kind of giving the ref shit instead of being in position. But I thought Basuma was okay. When I saw that there was no Romero, I definitely felt good about both teams to score. But I thought Basuma didn't really do it for me.
Yeah, he has
I'm not
games.
Saying he's a bust.
No. He's just inconsistent. There's games where he's going to look amazing, and there's games where he's just going to be like a guy who ticks the ball over, moves it here and there.
He was moving though, right? So unlike the last signing we had in that spot, right? Exactly. Like I'm not going to couple him with Ndombele, who just looks like he couldn't be bothered most of the time when he was out there.
Oh no. Basuma plays. Yeah,
Basuma plays. Yeah. So I think he was fine.
I mean, you could. The thing is, like, what's his face? Antonio hit the post. You guys.
Oh yeah, no, they could have, and the goal line scamper right at the end there too. There was an easy West Ham win that could have and arguably should have happened. So I'll take the draw. It is what it is. Right? What's that?
Did Bowen miss one too? I think.
Yeah, but Bowen. Bowen has just looked terrible. He looks like the Monstars showed up and took all his powers.
He's not quite. By the way, I saw that movie for the first time. It's not good.
The old one?
Yeah.
Oh wow, the old one's great. The new one, don't get me started.
No. The old one's bad. Trust me, I watched it.
But it's old. It's bad.
It's for you. Anyway. It's right. It's your childhood.
I was 8.
I was not.
I'm not worried about Sonny yet, and I said that into the microphone just now to convince myself that I'm not worried about Sonny.
He's got to play it through. They got to figure out.
You got to play him through it. Yeah.
Yeah. The way to figure this out is you've got to somehow get Kane into the creative spots to free everything up, because right now they're just not creating anything, right? Like,
there was a couple of times
not taking enough shots, not taking enough good shots, especially against teams that play deep. They got no lock picker because Kane is the lock picker.
Yes, and as the transfer window shut, I was glad we didn't go out and get Daniel James, who, by the way, I can take on in a minute. But there's no lock picker. There was no creative midfielder, and Chelsea didn't do that either. But I think more on Sonny, he's looking like his confidence is waning, because there's a couple of touches. The Sonny, not really. The Sonny, if he gets a long ball on the break and he's got a step, even if he'll make a great touch and he'll be off. Yeah. Now it's bouncing off of him. It's kind of, that's the part where I'm starting to get a little and the hard part is that how do you you have to let him play through it, but at the same time, how do you keep Richarlison out of the lineup any longer? Kulusevski's been great. Kane's not going anywhere. And so I love having him as an energizer off the bench. That's fine. But if you're going to do that, you have to tell Sonny before the game, like, look, you could score 4 goals in this game. You get 60 minutes. I don't care. Yeah. Right. So give me everything you have in the last 15 minutes of that, or the first 15 minutes of the second half, and then we're going to yank you. Right. He actually, by the way, he did come on for Kulusevski today or this week, not Sonny, because I think that was an opportunity Conte was giving him to kind of play through it and play with Richarlison. But I'm worried about my guy. So,
you guys have Fulham next, who are not easy.
Not easy, but they ship goals. So I think that we should be able to get Sonny a fucking goal. And West Ham, do they go to Chelsea? Yeah, they go to Stamford Bridge. And we'll touch on Chelsea in a minute, but that's going to be a huge, huge game, a massive derby, and with implications across the table. Because by the way, Chelsea
Fulham were really good and beat unbeaten Brighton and took it to them. Yeah. Although I don't trust Tim Ream at all. Like when I see him play and no one is like attacking him, let him get on the ball and make passes, I'm like, what are you doing? That's Tim Ream. He can't get in the U.S. men's national team. He stinks. Someone like Kulusevski should be like, we're going after you.
Yeah.
You suck.
Yeah. So,
But
we'll see.
There's good players in Fulham, like especially
And Chelsea are who by the way, right on the stroke of 11 p.m. British time tonight, have sealed the signature for Aubameyang, who by the way, 20 minutes. He spent 20 minutes. This is the highlight of the Sky Sports show for me. The driver he had couldn't figure out how to get into Stamford Bridge. So he had to like go around like the roundabout a couple times. He went on the highway, off the exit the other way. They pulled into the wrong driveway. It was fantastic. So they blew about a half hour, and it actually came down to the deadline. But
to be fair to our friends, we trade. They do trade two vehicular killers. Alonso does go to Barcelona in the trail. Yep. So that's 5 goals that they don't have anymore.
Yeah, it's because
that dude scores 5 goals a year.
It's 5 goals, but it's not a net positive. He's
him going. Defender. They don't need Alonso.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously,
but I'm gonna go. Sorry, I'm gonna go to the grave with this. I don't. Aubameyang is gonna make a difference because the issues with Chelsea are not in the front line. They have guys making runs. You have Mount and Havertz both have 0 shots and 0 goals and 0 assists. Yeah. Something is not happening before that part, right? Either it's Reece James who's now having to play defense and not able to get up, or he's afraid to play Chilwell because there's not enough defensive cover because Koulibaly is – maybe Napoli knew something, and they were like, this dude can't run. Yeah. And so you have these 2 wily veterans playing back there. Fofana will come in. That's big for them. He's 22. He's got pace. They'll go back to a 3 with Thiago in the middle.
And again, I brought this up before, but James will go out to right wing back, and he will be far more lethal in that position.
Right. So maybe that's where the creative –
they should put Reece James in the 10. They should put Reece James in the 10, I think, at this point.
But I think he needs that. He needs that. What's the space? To me, it's like the Trent Alexander-Arnold space. It's over the halfway line. You're not quite in the final third, or you're at the edge of the final third, and you whip crosses, those diagonal crosses from there that are just like, this fucking ball is incredible.
And you know who's going to find? You know who's going to find coming off the left?
Those. Yeah,
Sterling.
And Sterling. But is Aubameyang going to play in Sterling? Like, Aubameyang doesn't play through the middle.
That's my question now.
It's all weird. Now, I'll take Havertz and send him back to the freaking Nazi death camp he came from with that shaved head and just put Aubameyang in there. I never have to see Havertz again. I don't think he's good. Like, I don't know what, like, either he needs to be deeper and be a passer and a mover, or maybe he's going to come down and they'll move Mason Mount out. I don't know what the right combination is, and I don't think Tuchel knows either. That's the problem.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about Havertz. I don't think he's as bad as you think, but I think he's also at the same time like
one chance a game and you miss, and that's it, and you blew it.
Well, right, but of two minds a lot, right? Like, so he's trying to be that facilitator, also trying to get forward. I don't know. I don't really know.
And the other thing is, I don't like if Klopp is the Teutonic Care Bear, Tuchel is like Gestapo head. Like, nothing good is, he just seems, I don't want to play for that guy. He just seems like an asshole. Well, I wrote down the plan and you didn't move where I said to move in the 73rd minute. You blew it. You're like, dude, give me a hug.
Well, look, I mean, Southampton come back from an early Raheem Sterling goal. They take a 2-1 lead into halftime, and they hold it the whole game. Chelsea gets 10 shots total. I don't know how many in the second half, but not that many. It's
Azpilicueta, Thiago Silva, and Koulibaly.
Yeah,
what are they doing? Like,
and look, after
Azpilicueta cannot play anymore. For Chelsea.
2 wins, 1 draw, 2 losses from 5, and it's not like
they played a tremendous. 1 good half.
I would say they put, against Tottenham. So there's a lot of questions.
Although the Southampton, the Leicester game, that was pretty impressive with 10
with the man down. That's fair, but
maybe they need to play with a man down.
But so here's the important question for Chelsea. You have a new owner. You splash cash left and right. But Bowley had a tough beginning to the transfer window because
it's a little scattered.
Yes, but he lost out on a bunch of high end guys that were basically obvious. If you can get De Ligt, if you can get Koundé, you get them, but they couldn't. Lewandowski, whatever. We've talked about it. But now you're sitting 10th, and I'm not overreacting to Chelsea, their start, but you have to wonder, is Tommy Tuchel really Bowley's guy, right?
I don't think there's anyone. There's no there. It's literally Tuchel and Bowley. There's no.
No, I know that.
There's no hierarchy, so he can't.
As
go.
you just said, he's not. He needs a publicist, to base it, or at least somebody to translate his just awful. I know.
I just need a girl named Marina to handle my transfers and negotiate contracts. Marina.
Oh wait, here you go. I said this when the draw came out.
Yeah.
When Chelsea go to Zagreb, they will drop points the following game. So, in keeping with that, I'm going to pull it up again. They are going to Fulham, so they actually got some decent travel on either side of this. They're home to West Ham.
By the way, they have West Ham next. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. They are home to West Ham. They go to Zagreb on a Tuesday, and then they come back and they stay in London. They go to Fulham, Craven Cottage on a Saturday. So that won't be too bad. That's a shame.
Although
I'm going to step back from that.
West Ham Chelsea is not a joke. That's just like you guys just had.
Not at all.
Right? Like they might not win that game.
Yeah.
Especially the way they're defending, especially on set pieces. They're terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what TT is going to get up to.
If you drop one of the next two games, and I mean lose, not draw,
yeah.
or if you draw, but I guess if you don't get,
he's not getting fired though. There's no.
Hold on. Then you've got Liverpool and Palace back to back, and that's on the other side of a break of the only international break we'll have before the World Cup. So fine, maybe, but if he gets his doors blown off by Liverpool, is that 6 coaches to 7?
They're not fired. Then he's not getting fired.
Fine, and I think the reason why is because I always ask this: if you're going to fire the coach in any sport, who are you bringing in that's going to make a difference?
Yeah, there's nobody out there. There's Pochettino.
No,
that's the name.
Don't you dare.
That's the name. He'd go. He doesn't care.
I know he would. That bothers me.
So we've covered the big sort of things. I do want to talk a little bit about Southampton. Southampton really good. They have the makings of an amazing defensive partnership. I think we talked about Salisu and the other guy whose name I'm not even going to try and do right now. But they're both young. They brought in more young guys. Essentially, I think they got the associate director of football from City is now their director. So he's just mainlining City youth into Southampton. And good for them. Good for them. They're playing the kids. And they've sent out Jack Stevens and they've sent out Bednarik. Bednarik, I think, went to Aston Villa. I'm like, that guy's not going to help Aston Villa. Stinks. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, we have Tyrone Mings. Let's get more Tyrone Mings. So interesting teams there. I just want to make sure we don't miss anything on the schedule. Let's just run through it really quickly. So Saturday, a lot of games all at once. Everton, Liverpool, we discussed. Nottingham, Bournemouth, we discussed that. These are all the 10 a.m. games. Wolves, Southampton, that one is the least interesting. Palace versus Newcastle. We didn't touch Palace. Brentford, a great game, but not really have time to cover that. Then Brentford leads another pressing, attacking Nerd Bowl number 2. Brentford at home versus Leeds. That should be really good.
Let me hit you with my
and then your boys Fulham and Spurs at London Derby. 2 London Derbies, Chelsea and West Ham, and then Villa and City. And then there's the Sunday schedule is Brighton versus Leicester. Brighton's winning that game, and then of course Man United, Arsenal. But you wanted to touch on Jesse Marsch and his.
I did want to touch on
MLS. Major League Soccer.
I have a theory. I'm trying to bring up Daniel James's stats for this year. He started 2 games out of 4, and he fell out of favor quickly in the team. And Brendan Aronson is playing. And by the way, I'm not here to make an argument for Daniel James. I think he's barely Premier League quality, right? Fine.
He is about a one-dimensional player, as that dimension is just he can run.
And so, not a whole lot from that one game. There's so many Jameses in the Premier League. I just looked them up. Jesse Marsch, famously, MLS and American, and he brings in Aronson and Tyler Adams, and he kind of pushes Daniel James out of the side, right? And by the way, I'm looking it up. Nothing really inspiring. 3 shots in 2 games, not even a key pass.
I feel like they need him, which is weird.
James?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. And here's why. He froze him out. Okay. He was trying to make his next 2 to 3 months hell. Do you know why? Because he's Welsh. He's Welsh. And let me tell you something. In the middle of November, when the World Cup starts, do you know who the Welsh national team plays in the first game of the group at the World Cup? The United States men's national team. And Jesse Marsh.
So why is LAFC giving a home to Gareth Bale if they care about winning the game?
That's a good point. That blows a hole in my theory. Fuck.
By the way, Tyler Adams is a hell of a player. I think as you watch him, you do get Wappingers Falls Conte vibes. He's this tiny little destroyer. He's got a toughness to him. Aronson is just to hear, because I listen to at least 4 different British podcasts. 3 of them most of them are from The Athletic. So Tifo podcast, the Daily Football Show on The Athletic, and then the Totally Football Show that has 2 episodes a week. And they cannot talk about Aronson more. They all fucking love him. And that's not just these American guys. These are English people. They like that. He's got the vibe. And so that's exciting about that game. I'm looking forward to more games. I like when the schedule is juicy and pumping and games come and go. It's great. So we have more games, and then we have Champions League, and we have all this stuff. The narratives are, can Arsenal keep it going against United? This is a big statement game for both teams. This is credentials for Arsenal. Where is United in their progression? A 0-0 draw, a draw for United is amazing. They would kill for a draw. Although Arsenal never win at Old Trafford. Ever.
Arsenal, both teams would be. If you probably secretly gave them the opportunity for a draw right now, would Ten Hag take it? Ten Hag and Arteta.
Ten Hag would take it less than Arteta. I think Arteta would be like, come on, let's go fucking win this thing. Then really put pressure on.
But my point is that the coaches obviously want to go out there and win the game. But like if you gave Arsenal fans a minute to sit down and relax, you've got 15 points from 5 matches. You go, hey,
they'd kill for a draw.
You take a draw. You take a draw every
but
day. I would take a draw.
They shouldn't want a draw.
No, and then I think the other thing, happily take a draw.
Yeah. The other things are seeing how some of these transfers bed in. There's a lot of little players that are going to pop up. You're going to be like, who the F is that guy? Leeds got this young Italian striker, an African, a black guy who's Italian, who's 18 years old from the national team. Brighton grabbed Billy Gilmore, who we loved last season when he went to Norwich, and he kind of didn't work. But maybe it's just Norwich. Maybe he was too small. Maybe Potter will find a way. A lot of players coming in and out, so we'll get to see new friends.
Hey, let me throw one at you. Back at Everton, Idrissa Gana Gueye is a huge one for Everton
If he can still run. Yeah, he's now 32.
But they're only playing 1 game a week, whereas 1 game a week in the Premier League when all the European stuff kicks in.
I think I'm sort of my Kartik Krishnaiyer of the World Soccer Talk podcast said something that was really interesting to me. He was like, "Oh, I really like Lampard. When he develops young players, they get better with him." Now, I don't necessarily like his tactics, but he did bring through Mount at Derby and then Chelsea. He did bring through Tammy Abraham. It was under him that Gilmore got to play. So a lot of young players have come through. He's taken Iwobi, not necessarily young. He's made that adjustment, which is interesting. He has got to get credit for Gordon, just letting him play, giving him some freedom, and Richarlison and all the Richarlison was already established. So maybe my brain on Lampard is a little different. Maybe he's not a great tactician and he kind of just tells guys to press, but maybe he gives players freedom. He's a player's manager. Maybe that, and he did get that team to stay up. So interesting things. I think I actually like where Everton are. I think once they signed Tarkowski and Cody, I was like, oh, they'll be fine. Those guys are, they're not fucking around.
I'm still not so sure, but we'll see about it as the next few weeks go along. But yeah, we've got a day off, and then we've got more and more games, and then we've got Champions League right behind that. So can't be more excited about it. We've got 2 months of this before the World Cup. 2 months, 3 months, 2.5. But yeah, this is going to be awesome. Other than that, Laurent, you got anything else?
That is that, my friend.
All right, let's get out of here.
Okay, that was the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast with Mike Salerno and Laurent Cortines. We are the football wing of the Chop Sport Network. We are recording on Mondays and Thursdays, so be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you are listening on Apple or any other platform, please rate and review the show. We need it. Share it. Talk about it. Join our WhatsApp group. It's been lively, so we'll see you on